The true power of fasting according to the Bible. You're sitting at your favorite restaurant, the aroma of sizzling steaks and freshly baked bread wafting through the air. Your stomach growls in protest, but you're on a mission, a spiritual mission. Welcome to the world of biblical fasting, where the true power isn't in the food you consume, but in the spiritual feast you experience. So why fast? Is it about the food, or is there something much deeper at play here? In this video, we're going to uncover the profound significance of fasting according to the Bible and why it still holds power in 2025. Whether you're here for spiritual growth, health benefits, or just out of curiosity, you've come to the right place. Let's dive in this video. What is fasting? Fasting, in its simplest form, is the voluntary abstention from food or drink for a set period. But here's the catch: fasting isn't about just skipping meals to shed a few pounds. In the Bible, fasting was a sacred practice that had deep spiritual meaning. It was a way of communicating with God, humbling oneself, and seeking divine favor. Fasting could be a personal decision or a collective practice. The Israelites, for example, fasted during times of national repentance or crisis. While people today associate fasting mostly with diet trends like intermittent fasting or detox cleanses, biblical fasting had a much more profound purpose. It wasn't about self-discipline for health reasons. It was a deeply spiritual act that represented dependence on God and a desire for His guidance. In 2025, fasting continues to be a core spiritual practice in many faiths, but now with modern interpretations such as the Daniel fast, a practice that many turn to for both physical detox and spiritual revival. Biblical foundations of fasting. The Bible provides many examples of fasting, and each has its own unique lesson. Take Moses, for example. He fasted for 40 days and 40 nights on Mount Sinai, Exodus 34:28. This wasn't just a physical act of deprivation. It was an intense time of prayer, communion, and receiving God's commandments. It was a period of spiritual growth as Moses received the 10 Commandments. This act of fasting symbolized complete reliance on God, both for spiritual nourishment and for direction in leading the Israelites. Another famous biblical figure, King David, also fasted. When his son was ill, David sought God through fasting and prayer. This act of fasting was an expression of grief, humility, and the hope for divine intervention. And who can forget about Queen Esther? She fasted for 3 days, urging the Jewish people to join her before she approached the king to save her people. Fasting in these instances wasn't just about seeking personal transformation. It was a communal call for divine intervention, illustrating that fasting could be a tool for collective change. The spiritual significance of fasting. Fasting in the Bible goes far beyond just abstaining from food. It's about drawing closer to God. It's about creating space to listen, to learn, and to grow. In the rush of daily life, we often neglect the spiritual practices that strengthen our relationship with God, and fasting allows us to reset and refocus on what truly matters. When we fast, we're saying that our spiritual hunger is greater than our physical hunger. It's a declaration that we value the presence of God more than the pleasures of the world. Jesus himself emphasized the power of fasting. Before starting his public ministry, he fasted for 40 days and nights in the wilderness. This time of fasting not only helped him grow closer to God, but also prepared him for the intense temptations he would face. Through fasting, he demonstrated that when we surrender our physical needs, we open ourselves to spiritual renewal and clarity. It's like a detox, but not for the body, rather for the soul. Modern applications of biblical fasting. In 2025, fasting continues to be a powerful spiritual discipline. Churches and communities worldwide observe fasting periods, especially during Lent, and other significant times in the Christian calendar. The Daniel fast, for example, is a popular form of fasting where participants abstain from certain foods like meat, sugar, and processed items, focusing instead on fruits, vegetables, and water. This type of fast has gained traction not just for spiritual reasons, but also for its health benefits. In fact, fasting isn't just a biblical practice. Many health professionals advocate for intermittent fasting, which has been linked to benefits like improved blood sugar levels, lower risk of heart disease, and even enhanced brain function. Offer a modern to this ancient practice, making it accessible to people who want to integrate fasting into their daily lives, whether for health or spiritual growth. The combination of biblical principles and modern wellness practices has made fasting a truly holistic approach to well-being, blending body, mind, and spirit. Health benefits of fasting. While the primary purpose of fasting is spiritual, it's hard to ignore the science behind it. Many studies have shown that fasting, particularly intermittent fasting, offers numerous health benefits. For example, fasting can improve blood sugar control by reducing insulin resistance. In a study published by the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, intermittent fasting was shown to help regulate insulin levels, which is critical for managing and preventing type 2 diabetes. Another remarkable benefit of fasting is its ability to reduce inflammation. Chronic inflammation is linked to conditions like heart disease, arthritis, and even cancer. A study published in Cell Metabolism found that fasting for 24 hours could reduce the markers of inflammation in the body. Additionally, fasting helps with weight management. By giving your digestive system a break, your body can focus on fat burning, which is why many people use fasting as a tool for weight loss. As more people turn to fasting for both spiritual and health reasons, it's clear that this ancient practice holds power not only in the spiritual realm, but in modern medicine as well. Practical tips for fasting. Ready to give fasting a try? Here are some practical tips to help you make the most of your fasting experience. First and foremost, set clear intentions. Are you fasting for spiritual growth, physical health, or perhaps a combination of both? It's essential to know why you're fasting, because that will keep you motivated during the difficult moments. Next, choose a fasting method that fits your lifestyle. For some, that means skipping meals, while for others, it may mean doing a partial fast. Start slow, don't jump into a 40-day fast right away. Begin with short fasts and gradually build up to longer periods as you grow more comfortable with the practice. Also, don't forget to hydrate. Fasting doesn't mean you have to stop drinking water unless you're doing a water fast, and staying hydrated is crucial. Finally, when it's time to break your fast, do so gently. Avoid binging on heavy foods, as your body may not be ready for a sudden intake of large amounts of food. Instead, ease into it with lighter meals to avoid shocking your system. Common misconceptions about fasting. Despite its rich history, fasting is often misunderstood. One common misconception is that fasting equals starvation. But here's the truth. Fasting is not about depriving yourself of nutrients. It's about discipline, focus, and spiritual renewal. You're not starving yourself. You're choosing to temporarily abstain from food to nourish your soul. Another misconception is that fasting is all about food. In today's digital age, fasting can also involve abstaining from things like social media, TV, or even negative thoughts. In fact, many people use fasting as an opportunity to disconnect from distractions and reconnect with God. Lastly, some people think that fasting is an outdated practice, but in reality, it's as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. Fasting is not a fad. It's a timeless spiritual discipline that can lead to profound growth and transformation, both spiritually and physically.